time, the indefinite continued progress of existence, and events in the past, present, and future regarded as a whole. It is a measure constructed by man to keep the mind in a prison. Since birth, we've all been contending a race that no one will ever win. The constant struggle of the everyday hustle and bustle just to punch another man's clock. Priceless seconds ticking away till one day you wake up and you're old. There's a ninth dimension beyond that which is known to man. It is a parallel as vast as space and as timeless as infinity. It serves as a meeting point between light and darkness, between science and superstition, religion and politics, and it lies between the pit of man's fear and the summit of his knowledge. For the remainder of this episode, we will journey to the unknown, one time for your mind.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of One Time for Your Mind. I'm your host, the International Tate Incorporated. And before we get started, I want you to like, subscribe, and tap that bell for notifications. And we're going to get right into it. Let me thank my sponsors first. This episode is actually sponsored by Green Diamond Rooster Food Products and Mississippi Bone Rub. Make sure you check those out as well. Also, I'm gonna get a shout out to Team Tate America. You can check them out at www.teamtateamerica.com and do videography and photography work for television and radio that's been around for a long time, and chances is you've actually seen or heard some of their work and didn't know that it was them, because they don't plaster their name all over the products and stuff like that. They're not like your Puff Daddies dancing in your videos and stuff like that. So I want to give a shout out to them for that. And also the Presidential Players for allowing me to have this platform once again, man. I want to thank them. Very, very special thanks to them, man. Appreciate y'all. Okay, so today's episode is called The Letter P. Okay. Chances is, no matter where you've been in life, you've ran into a place or a facility that has a restroom in it. You know, you're probably listening to this video or watching this video right now in a place that has a restroom in it, hopefully, right? And in the restroom, there's three major components that are in there. Okay, so hopefully it has a sink, a bathtub or a wash tub, and a toilet. What people don't understand is really how the toilet actually works. Okay, how the toilet works, and it keeps the smell from coming back up inside of the dwelling, because it has something called a P trap, like the letter P trap. Matter of fact, I'm going to put the definition on the screen so y'all can see what that is, so you don't have to go and look this up, so you know exactly what that is. If you want to see a diagram of what the P trap actually looks like, then of course go Google it. But for the sake of this video, I put the P trap definition at the bottom so you can see what that is. Okay, you see that? All right. So let's talk about the letter P. Life is like a P trap. Matter of fact, anything with power starts with the letter P. And I'm gonna use the obvious here, the woman's P. Trying to keep everything PG-13 here, right here. And the toilet is so synonymous that it has a P trap in it, because a lot of men are willing to flush their life away behind a piece of P. You know what I'm saying? And some women too. Or some women like to, flush their own life away because they've given their P away. P trap, right? You know what I'm saying? Y'all heard the trap house, the trap game, and stuff like that. Now we're talking about the P trap and how the P trap actually works. Okay, so I think it was fitting that they named that particular part of the toilet the P trap. That's interesting. Let's move on and rediscover some other things that start with the letter P that actually affects your everyday life. Okay, how about police? Okay, how about prisons, politicians, pastors? All these things start with the letter P, and people don't tie these things together. You got to ask yourself, was this done by accident? What about your palaces, the Palladians, the plate that you eat off of when you have your food? The most common letter in the alphabet is actually the letter A, followed by the letter S. That means that these two letters in the alphabet, the known alphabet now, has the most words associated with it. And a lot of times you can't even spell a word unless you have an A or an S in it. You know what I'm saying? Which is crazy. But all the stuff is done by design. Okay, let's go back to the letter P. What are some words that you can think of with the letter P that's associated with life, that has power associated with it? I'll give you a couple seconds to think about that. All right, let's go to the religious sector and talk about the Pope. Okay, the Pope is considered to be a reincarnated God on earth. Okay, and you see people bowing to the Pope, calling him Father. Yet the Bible clearly states that all these are abominations, and you even hear the Pope say it out of his own mouth that he is a reincarnation of God here on earth. And there's something strange about that. And we all know that it's three major things that rule the world. You got the America with the military might, which is city-states. Well, Washington, D.C., which controls the military might of the world. We're always policing the world, letter P. You have London, England, which controls the financial sector of the world, also a city-state. And then you have Rome, where the Pope is located at. Once again, this is a city-state. And all these city-states have obelisks in them. They all make laws for the surrounding territories and their citizens, but yet the laws that they're making, they don't have to follow themselves. That seems rather strange, don't you think? Now, when I was coming up, I've always heard parents, letter P, tell their kids or their children, or maybe it wasn't their children, they're just people, kids in the neighborhood that played with your kid, letter P, and you told them to do what I tell you to do what I say, not what I do. Okay? And then those same parents will teach you at a later time, or maybe they're still around and you are an adult now, and they tell you that teaching starts at home. You know what I'm saying? Kids lead by example. So if you are doing all these bad things, maybe swearing or fighting people or stealing or lying or what have not, whatever your vice is, right? Excuse me. And now your kids or people who you were influenced on or watching you now, and they're adults now, and they're carrying some of these same characteristics, and you like, man, this child turned out screwed up, right? We don't know where that happened, where it came from. There's a reason why all these Law and Order or SBU or investigators, they always, when something always goes wrong, they always say, what was their childhood like? They always revert back to the childhood. What did they do as a child that could contribute to this? That means that most of your habits that you have starts in childhood. Think about it, because kids and tweens are fearless when they're under a certain age. This is why if you're going to do gymnastics or something like that, or even train a child soldier, it's best to get them when they're young, because they don't associate danger with what they're doing. You know, you can tell a child you can jump 10 feet tall and flip off this bridge and fly, right? And they'll believe that, because that's the poison, letter P, that's been placed in their mind. And notice it's been placed. Like when you move out, move into your own place, there's a space, like a space and time that you're currently in. And you got to figure out what part of the matrix, what is the matrix? Am I in the matrix? How do you know that you're even awake right now? That's a good chance that you're probably asleep right now. And this is the reason why Freddy Krueger was so synonymous with the way he would scare people, because everybody had to go to sleep no matter what kind of medication you took or how long you thought you were going to stay up. Eventually your body has to rest, and you don't have a choice in that. So you can be driving and your body can fall asleep. You can be watching TV with your eyes open and fall asleep. This has happened to me before. I've been peeing, letter P, and fell asleep at the urinal, literally. So in the middle of the action. So it does happen. I just hope that you're in a safe spot where you're able to, not cause an accident. This is the reason why they started putting the emergency brakes and the parking brakes, letter P. They started designing this in the middle of the car, versus when vehicles were first manufactured, the emergency brakes were on the left-hand side, or the driver's side of the vehicle on the floorboard. And that's the reason why you drive with one foot. So the other foot, if you have 2 feet, have a set of feet, one foot will be for the gas pedal, and the other one was kind of just lingering around in case you need to hit the emergency brake. It's more important to stop than it is to go. This is the reason why you have an emergency brake. You don't have an emergency motor or an emergency gas pedal or nothing like that, because it's more important to stop than it is to move. Now, when I used to drive trucks many years ago, my partner was diabetic, and I didn't know my partner was diabetic. And I'm going to keep this person's name, anonymous, to protect the innocent. Okay, and letter P again. Anywho, we would leave the job every day and drive, and we would always stop somewhere and eat breakfast every morning. And my partner would load his bag up with like ice and drinks and snacks, cookies and candy and stuff like that, because usually we're working up in the mountains, we're going to be gone for a while, and may not be no cell phone reception, etc., right? So I would always sleep after I ate. I would sleep because these rides for long, man. You may be on a drop ride for like 2 hours, right? You know what I'm saying? So, I was in school at the time and it worked out for me. You know what I'm saying? I was staying up late night, had new dad, blah, blah, blah. And I would, rest until one day I was up in the mountains and I was awoken by this god awful sound. I can't even describe it. The best way to describe it is like 2 dump trucks falling off the side of a building and falling onto each other. It was that loud, like boom, 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 boom. So, naturally, I get jolted. I wake up. I look over at my partner who's behind the wheel and he's asleep. Freaked me out. Just so happened where we're at in the mountains, there was basically just enough room for one car to get by on this road. And here we are with this box truck and a car on the road with no guardrails and just straight down, right? Matter of fact, if you look off the side of the mountain, there are cars and stuff down there from the 50s or 60s that people ran out the side of the mountain and they was unable to recover the cars because there's no winch or no helicopter that can get in there because of the tree. And so they just left there until, they rot and, nature takes its place and stuff. Hopefully they was able to recover the body. So let that sink in for a second. So I reach over, I grab the emergency brake, which is in the middle of the truck. And of course the truck stalls out because it's a stick shift. Now, if you're a truck driver, you can't drive trucks or any type of commercial vehicle without having a physical. Letter P again. Now, when we went to take our physical, obviously I passed, and it's always some old man in there, telling you to drop your pants and cough and turn your head. It's an awkward feeling for me because I'm not really into that, but just kind of do it and get it over with. So my partner, he does his thing and comes back, he passes. I said, how did you pass the test if you're diabetic? He said, well, there's 2 types of diabetic. And I said, what's the first type? He said, well, if you got the type that you can be on like the insulin shot. And then you got the type you can be on the pill. I said, what's the difference? He said, if you're on the insulin shot, you can't drive. Okay. If you're on the pill, you can drive trucks. I said, ain't you on the insulin shot? He said, yes. I said, how'd you get out of there? He said, money talks, right? And so I'm not sure what happened. I'm not sure if malpractice was going on, but all I'm saying is he continued to drive trucks and he passed his DOT. So let y'all kind of figure that out. Y'all the audience out there. Let that sink in for a second. Money can get you out of a lot of things where problems exist. Letter P again. Some of y'all are used to Post-it notes, and some of y'all post online to your social media sites saying stuff like, pray for me and my family, or me and my old man or my old lady, we're going through some things. But how do you know that the people who you're asking to pray for you is praying for whatever's bothering you to continue ailing you, which they might be doing it? Statistics say that 8 out of 10 people who hate on you is often somebody you know. The same statistics say that 8 out of 10 robberies or home invasions come from somebody you know. Now, once again, I totally agree with that, because I'm not going to break into somebody's house or dwelling and possibly lose my life, or have a chance of losing my life or taking somebody else's life, if I don't have an idea of what's in there. It's suicide. And anybody listening to the sound of my voice can contest to that. So I don't want to take up too much of your time, but just to leave with some homework, I want you to pay attention. Letter P again. Pay for your problems. PPP. To all the words that are associated with power that start with the letter P, and ask yourself, was that done by design, or was it just a stroke of coincidence? Ladies and gentlemen, I am your host, the International Tate Incorporated, and you just got done listening to the award-winning podcast of One Time for Your Mind. I'll catch you next time. Don't get left behind. Thank you.
One time for your mind, one time.
One time.
One time for your mind, one time.
One time.
Break free of the box that keep your thoughts confined. Concentrate to hear the message.
rhymes. One time for your minds. Pry your eyelids open. Don't ignore the signs. Late take chime in with his peace of mind. Message spreads to all to beware the times.
One time for your mind, one time.
One time.
One time for your mind, one time.
One time.
Break free of the box and keep your thoughts confined. Concentrate and hear the message through these rhymes. One time for your minds. Pray your eyelids open. Don't ignore the signs. Let take chime in with his peace of mind. Spread this message to all to beware the times.
One time for your mind, one time.
One time.
One time for your mind, one time.
One time.
Break free of the box that keeps your thoughts confined. Concentrate to hear the message through